welcome to the Mindset and Muscle podcast. I'm your host, Keshi, and today we're going to be talking about vision boards. All about vision boards, how to create it, why it's so important, what even is a vision board. We're going to be talking all about it and why I love it so much, and let's get right into it. So, a vision board, also known as a dream board, or maybe even a goal board, but I've heard vision board or dream board. It's a visual representation of your goals, dreams, and aspirations. So it's like a collection or a collage of images. You could have words, you could have affirmations, quotes that serve as a constant reminder of what you want to achieve in different aspects or categories of your life. So now, why are they so important? What's the science maybe behind them? Well, it's not just about science, it's about psychology too. Vision boards work on the principle of visualization and the law of attraction. When you regularly see images and words that represent your goals, your subconscious mind starts to focus on them. And this in turn influences your thoughts, your behaviors, your decisions, which all lead you towards basically what you want to achieve or toward your desired outcomes, let's say. So it's both of the law of attraction, again, with your thoughts and your feelings towards those goals, but also just seeing them and remembering, reminding yourself of, hey, I have this goal to achieve, so I should work on it today. So now let us go into, before we go into how to create it, I want to mention that there's two types: a physical and a digital vision board. And then I'm going to go into how to make both basically. But before you even get to that part, the first step is to write down your goals. So it's very important to write down your goals and be as specific as you need or as you want. Don't rush through this process. If you need to give yourself the whole evening free, so you have time, even if it takes you 30 minutes, even if it takes you an hour, it's probably not going to take you an hour. But you might think it takes you 10 minutes and then it ends up taking you like 15 to 20 minutes to write down your goals. That's okay. Like, I don't want you to rush through this because I want you to actually have a clear understanding and just a clear idea of what your goals are. So, write down your goals for the year, so 2024, the coming year, as well as some of your long term goals. Because if we're never really thinking about our long term goals, it's going to be long term, aka it's going to be 5 years later, and you haven't made any progress towards those goals because you always thought of it as a long term goal. For example, if you want to own 5 rental properties, you don't necessarily have to have that as a 2024 goal right now, although you could. You could. But if, let's just say you're working on other things right now, but you also really want to at some point have 5 rental properties, maybe you could work towards one this year. Or even if you don't work towards any one of them this year, at least having that on your vision board is going to remind you to start doing the things that you need to do so that next year maybe you can be more ready to start working on those. If you have other priorities this year, for example, you can still be reading about it or kind of things like that. Whereas if it's kind of out of sight, it will probably be out of mind at some point. So once you have your goals written down specifically, break them down into categories. I like doing that. It helps me really like organize everything, and it just seems to be putting the puzzle pieces together for me, or it just kind of clears the way. It's not very like cluttered in my mind, so I like to break it down into health, wealth, and relationships, for example. Now that you have your goals, and maybe you even have those goals from the 2023 audit and the 2024 goal setting that you did before, a few of my first episodes were about that, like setting, like planning ahead for the new year. So maybe you already have the 2024 goals. So write a few of the goals for like long-term goals as well. Now find pictures. I recommend Pinterest, but you can use anything you want. You can use just Google, but I think Pinterest is better, works better in this case. Um, I tend to just find pictures that just invoke more like stronger feelings of excitement and things like that. Whereas Google sometimes can just be completely random and just so many pictures in front of me that I don't really know where to look. But either way, it doesn't really matter where you're looking. Just find those pictures that are, again, specific. For example, if your goal was a car, like your dream car or your car that you want to buy this year, or I don't know. Let's just say you want an Audi A4. Do you want a white one, a black one, a red one? Like how exactly do you want? Like I don't you don't have to go into the, I believe it's called trim or something. You don't have to go that deep into it. If you're a car person and seeing that picture will already make you realize that this is a different one than you want, then sure, go into more detail. But for me, I wouldn't really know. So I would have a white Audi on my vision board, for example. Um, so have a picture of, you can have both in that case, the picture itself of the car itself, sorry, and then also you inside the car. And I'm going to go a little bit more about that later in that video, but having a first person point of view is also really good. So find pictures like this as well. So if you can, I do understand that not every goal is going to be super easy to find very specific pictures. For example, if you've never lost a lot of weight before, you've never been very lean, but your goal is to lose weight and be lean, you're not going to find a picture of yourself if you don't remember the last time you've been like that. Um, so then you can find a picture of somebody else online, as long as this, like seeing this picture evokes this strong feeling, this strong positive feeling of excitement, of, it should remind you basically, or not remind you, but it should basically make you feel like you would feel when you already achieved that goal. So look at that picture and think about how you would feel once you're there. That's what you should feel every time you're looking at your vision board. So now that you have your pictures, now let's go into the physical vision board. So for the physical, you would obviously print them. Now, look at your board, how big it is, and then you will I would recommend you having this like harder sheet of paper. That's, I think it's, is it A3? No, A3. It's bigger than A3. Well, I got mine at Staples. I just asked them for a big colorful sheet of paper, and that I got last year. But I got that there last year, and this year I just went there and didn't know what the name was. So I basically just asked for that, like the big colorful sheet of papers, like the hard ones, and they knew exactly where to bring me. There's not that many sizes when it's big. Um, find one of those colorful ones, and then you can just put all your pictures or stick them onto that piece of paper and then onto your bigger board or bigger frame. And you don't have to have a frame, it's just prettier if you do and easier to put it up. I'm just saying then you can just leave your frame on the wall or wherever you want it to be. And when you replace your vision board every year, for example, you can just take that piece of paper out, and it's a lot easier than kind of taking every single photo down. Now, when you print them for the pictures themselves, be mindful of the sizes. This year, what I did better than last year was that I printed some portrait and some landscape. And then last year I kind of did it, I left a lot of gap. So I had all the pictures and I could still see the background, but this year I put them really close to each other where it's a lot more clustered, or it's all together, but then I fit a lot more pictures in it. And I think I like this year's better actually, but then I had to be really creative about how to make everything work so that it's actually very nice looking and not just like, ew, what's all these pictures just together like a mess. Like it doesn't look like a mess at all. But what I did is so some of them were portraits, some of them were landscape. I printed it on photo paper actually. So I went to Staples. There's a photo kiosk. I don't know if every Staple has it, but I know the one, if you live in the north, it has the one next, like near Clairview, in Clairview. Um, I think it's next to like the Good Life, or like it's close there, as well as if you live in the south. I know that the one in South Common, so both of those I know have it. And then I don't know about other parts of Edmonton or Canada or the world. But so if you have that option of being able to print it on paper and on photo paper and it's not too expensive, I actually feel like I spent like $30 printing pictures because I had too many to even fit on there. But you don't have to. Last year, what I did is I just printed it on, instead of just regular paper, I used just a harder paper. I asked them to print it on that. So if you want to do that, that's more affordable, a lot more than just using photo paper. I just like the glossy look, but you can ask for like glossy type of paper that's still like an A4 sheet, or what is it, letter or legal letter? I think that's the paper type here. Back in Mauritius, we used to just have A4 paper, but either way. Um, so just using a nicer paper, a thicker paper. If you can have a glossy one, that makes the picture look better. And if you're using that A4 or letter size or whatever, then you have a Google Doc where you put all your pictures on there. So you know that on you're gonna need like 5 sheets, let's just say, for all your pictures and things like that. Don't have all of them the same sizes. Have some a little bit bigger, some a little smaller. And then once you have them, be ready to cut them up, and that would actually be easier. For some of them, I just kind of framed the outline. Like if it was a person, I framed the outline of the person, and that fit really well on that vision board. Or, for example, if I want to have a certain guest on my podcast at some point, or things like that, I would use that person. Or even, again, if I said you want to lose weight or things like that, and you want to have a picture of somebody with like a nice physique, or if you want to compete in a bodybuilding show and you want to have somebody with a nice physique on there, or if you're a man and you just want to have Chris Bumstead on your vision board, you can cut the outline so that you just have like that person and not the whole just like rectangular picture on there. I think that really elevates the look of it, but be ready to kind of like cut it up. Or even sometimes if you don't like just cut the outline, just cutting the picture so that there's not much of the background will allow you to really fit a lot more pictures than if you were to just take the whole thing and stack them onto the board. So again, use nicer paper and getting like a big board, a big piece of paper, scissors, and glue to glue them. So if you just use the board and not like the big piece of paper like I was talking about, I guess you can use like pins and things like that. I think it's so much more aesthetic if you use that piece of paper and then you glue them, all of them on there. I just think it's beautiful. I also have on the side, because that frame is a lot bigger, is a little bigger, not a lot bigger, is a little bit bigger. Let's just say the width that's left is like the size of a regular photo, which is ideal, which is perfect, because then I have 3 or 4 just pictures of, for me personally, I just have quotes and wording. And you could have wording on your vision board in general. It doesn't have to be all pictures. Don't use too much. Don't use like paragraphs and things like that, because you want to be able to look at it and already kind of like be absorbing that information. So don't have like really small letters or really long things, but like a little quote or a little just word um, is really helpful as well. I really like that. But yeah, so on the space that I have left, I have like 3 or 4 quotes, like one below each other, and then it just fits perfectly. But maybe your board is not going to have any space left either. So again, you could just put those quotes or anything like that anywhere. And actually, to make those quotes, I just really like my vision board to be aesthetic. So what I did is to find the quotes online, and then I went to Canva, I typed it out, and then used a font that I like and a background that I like. And I, for example, all of them, I use the same font, and then like a pink background. So all of them just look like they are made to be there. They're not random at all. They are not like one is a white background, the other one is like a black background, the other one is a blue background, and all different fonts and things like that that look like I just got them from different places. It looks like they're so curated for me. So, yeah, that's very important. And now when you cut your pictures, and I talked about the outlines to fit better, you might have extra pictures, and that's fine, just have a rough idea of how much you need. If you have, I'd rather have a little more than a little less, to be honest, because then it's a pain. Not a pain, but a little bit of a hassle to go and print other ones again. I guess if I was just printing it home, it would be fine. But yeah, if you have to go and get it printed, then I'd rather just have a little bit more than a little less. But either way, if you do, that's okay. Then just kind of before you post, not post, before you glue the pictures on them, make sure you assemble everything. And it's going to move around a little bit, but have a good idea. So if you have different categories, you could organize your vision board in different categories too. This year, I didn't do that. I think just because I had so many different pictures, but I have, so while they overlap a little bit, they're still kind of categorized. What I mean is that health is on one side, and then I think there's relationships, and then there's wealth. But then, kind of, I don't have a clear line separating them. So then the things that I found worked in both categories, for example, both in relationships and, for example, relationships and health. You could have a picture of two people working out. So that could be like if you want to work out with a friend, or like you want to work out but also foster or improve your friendships and things like that. So you could have a picture of two people working out together, or you and your partner working out if that's something that you want to achieve this year, kind of bringing health and relationships together. Or if you want to bring relationships and wealth together, it could be again doing those things, or having like a couple, a rich couple, for example, I don't know, or a rich family if you want to foster or improve your family relationships, as well as the wealth aspect. So it's going to be totally dependent on you, what your goals are, but you can also like kind of fit it to kind of work in both categories, because I found like a lot of the pictures where I was looking, I didn't really know when I was making my folder where I should really put it or save it, because it was both. So then it was perfect that I could kind of, I have a gradient. I feel like I have a gradient. That's a good way of putting it. So it goes from one end and then it kind of mixes into another one. And then I have another clear category, and then it mixes again to another one overlapping, and then have another clear category. So you could do that, but you don't have to again. You could either have all the pictures just however you want it on the board, or you could have very strict categories and divide it up well. And you can leave a lot of space in between the pictures, or you can not have any space at all. That's totally up to you and what makes you happiest and most excited about it. Again, I mentioned use words, but not too many words. It just makes it difficult to, like, you don't want to have to like kind of stand there and spend 30 seconds reading to even get one part of that information on there. You want to look at it and already be feeling super excited. And then another step is to just romanticize the evening while you're doing this. I made this my solo date of the week when I created it, because I didn't want to rush through it. It takes a lot of time to arrange everything on the board and then cut it and then glue it together. Also, I don't know if I went too deep into that. I think I kind of went on a tangent while I was talking about arranging it on the board, but basically what I meant was that if you just start sticking it immediately, you might find that you have too many pictures for the board, but you used pictures that you liked a little less, and now you have pictures that you really, really wanted on there that make you feel so excited that you left out. Whereas if you arrange it, you can see, oh, I have 3 or 5 extra pictures. I'm going to put that one in and take another one out, because there's going to be some that will evoke more excitement than others. That's just going to happen. So then you can decide what you want in it and what you don't want in it. All of them should, again, make you feel super excited, but some more than others, probably. So then romanticize your evening while you're having this. Again, don't rush. What I did was I put like a nice little ambient sound music, and then I had my diffuser, so it was a nice smell and a nice sound, and then it was very relaxing. I made the vibe very relaxing while I was doing this, but you could have a dance party while you're doing this too. Or you could just be watching TV while you're doing this, watching your favorite show. Like, whatever it is, just kind of don't rush through it to just get it done. Just enjoy the process and already start feeling that excitement while you're making it. Now let's go into the difference when we're making a digital one. The first one, and I mentioned Canva before, but for this one, you will use Canva to make the whole collage. Now you can use a different app if you want, but Canva has a free version that's already great. If you have the pro version, obviously that's going to make it even easier and better, but you don't have to get the pro version. Free version works great. I believe even the free version has the AI function where you can just, it uses AI to create like pictures. So that could also help. I know for Canva, you can't, I'm not sure if you can use everything on there. I feel like pro, some Canva Pro like items, like pictures and elements and things like that, you're not supposed to use for some things. But then if you're just printing it for yourself for personal use, all of it should be fine. So you can also get some pictures on Canva in that case. But we're going to be using it to put it together. So on Canva, you can have different sizes. So you could have like whatever size your lock screen is, your wallpaper is. And then just assemble the pictures on your computer. And you can have one for your phone and one for your laptop or computer or whatever it is. I would recommend that actually if you can. If you use your laptop a lot too, if you work with your computer or with that laptop, have one on there. The point of that is to be able to see it as much as possible. So if you have your laptop that you use all the time, why not put the lock screen as your vision board? I have mine on my phone, not my laptop so far, but I might actually add it on my laptop too. But you don't have to add it everywhere if you don't want to. If you are going to add it on your phone, for example, you want it to be a nice aesthetic too. You don't want like just a very random kind of vision board, but also it's not very nice to look at. So make sure you spend some time to maybe use some templates. If you just type vision board in Canva, I'm sure you'll already, or dream board or something like that, you will already have a lot of very nice template that you can just swap the pictures out for your pictures. Again, if you're using your phone, I would recommend to use different categories and to make like three different boards. I have one again for relationships, one for like you can have like one for love, one for mindset, one for like health and wealth, whatever. Um, all the categories, whatever categories you want, have different ones because the phone is so little that you can only put so many pictures on there. So then you can add more pictures that bring you excitement about the different kind of aspects of this category to be able to add all of them. And then I know on iPhone you can do that. You can probably also do that on Android, that you can ask your phone or set your phone to alternate or to kind of swap through, not swap, but yeah, alternate or rotate through the different lock screens. So basically every time you unlock your phone, it's going to be one of the five maybe lock screens that you have, or one of the three lock screen options that you have, or whatever. So then throughout the week, you get to see all of them a bunch of times. So that's what I would recommend for a phone just because it's so little. If it's on your laptop, you can just have one, or if it's on your computer or something, you can just have one. You don't need different ones, and it's also not going to alternate. So just have one, and you can again have the categories kind of separated on that one vision board, or you can just have it all over the place, and that's fine too. Now, a few tips about vision boards in general that made this vision board better than last time when I had it. The first one is to use, I've heard that from a podcast actually, but is to use a few pictures of things that you have already manifested. For me, it's the car that I have right now, but like having something, so it's actually, I think I have two or three. I have another one of a picture of me from a photo shoot as well. So I'm not going to go into like crazy detail about all of what I have on there, but basically, having pictures of yourself is going to remind you of things you've already achieved, already manifested, which makes the other things more attainable. For example, I could very well have put a picture of me just at the gym or posing. Actually, I don't do very much posing, but um yeah, just taking a picture of myself at the gym, and that would remind me of how I lost 60 pounds. So I could also then have another picture of somebody else competing, like on a body, on like a bikini athlete or something, and then that one would evoke of where I want to be. So it's kind of both. So having something, and you don't have to have one of those for each goal, but just having one or two pictures of what you've already manifested is a really good, nice feeling when you're looking at it. And sometimes on days when you're thinking of all of those goals being so far to achieve and so difficult, and you're not really sure how you're going to get there, remind yourself of all the things you've already manifested so far. The second one, I've talked about that briefly earlier, but is to have some first person point of view. Because when you look at it, you can just think of yourself as like holding that money, for example, or being in that car, or being in that house, or things like this. So having a first person point of view is also very nice to have. The third tip is to just use pictures that are very specific when you can. Again, if you want to have a specific car, if you want to have a specific house, just try to be as specific as possible with that picture that you have. Again, like I said, not all, it won't be possible for all of it, but for a lot of it, just try, like even if you want like a purse that you want, or a pair of shoes that you want Air Jordans or something, is that still a thing? Probably. Just have the specific one that you want to buy, specific color and everything. I've said this word specific so many times in the last 30 seconds. But yeah, so next step is to add yourself if possible. So pictures that you took with your phone, or pictures that somebody else took of you. For example, if you're, maybe you have a picture of you using a car example again, it's just so easy to put on a vision board. But if you're you in that car, or let's just say you test drove that car, maybe your first person point of view in that car, staring at that steering wheel, or just you standing next to that car, or even something that would be related, like if you have a picture of yourself, I don't know, if you did a really nice photo shoot, and let's just say you want to get into acting or something, you like maybe some of those pictures could evoke this feeling of you as an actor, maybe the pose that you did or things like that. Or even if you want to get, even if you did that photo shoot but it was like a fitness photo shoot, that could evoke that feeling of, you know, being more into fitness or things like that. So whenever you have pictures that when you look at it, you could visualize that goal that you have, add those pictures, because then you're already seeing yourself there. Or a good example is me doing a pull up. So I'm not doing an assisted pull up, but I have a picture of me doing an assisted pull up with the band, but I still have it on there. So I know when I look at it, like I know I didn't achieve that goal. However, that's not what I'm thinking of when I'm looking at it. When I'm looking at it, what I'm thinking of is the feeling I'm going to have when I'm going to get an assisted pull up and unassisted, in case I said that wrong. So, yeah, that was a good example. So, now the last tip, and I've mentioned this, but I want to mention this again: feeling. What do you feel when you look at it? You need to feel excitement. You need to have butterflies when you look at your vision board. You need to want to look at it, and every time you pass by it, you want to be able, you we want to have the feeling of having to look at it and just remembering your goals and getting the butterflies every time again. Maybe more at the start than later. You'll just kind of get used to that, to just seeing those pictures, but just every time you see it, it has to have this positive feeling. So choose pictures that are going to evoke those feelings for you. And that's it. That's everything. Creating a vision board is not hard at all. It's just once you know kind of the steps and how to go through it, it's nice and it's such a fun little activity to do. You can also do it with your partner, you can do it with your friend. just whoever is also interested in having something like that, yeah. Or you can just do it by yourself because that's fun too. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please give me a 5-star review and share that with your family and friends who might also enjoy it. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.